Growing up in Western Canada, Jessica Ridley had dreamed of becoming a country music artist and following in the steps of Shania Twain, Reba McEntire, and Martina McBride. That dream is coming true with the release of Fit to Be Tied, her debut album, which features the hit Flaming Red. We caught up with Jessica to hear about her new music.
It feels like it's been a long haul, but I think a lot of people don't realize, you talk about the overnight success, and I don't really think there's a such thing, because we've been at this for quite a while now. And it's been in the last year or so that things have really started to kind of click. And I've been kind of singing my whole life, and basically got my start in church, actually. It's where I met my manager, and the rest, as they say, is history. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been singing and writing little songs and things like that. So it's just kind of my life, actually. My family is like major country music fans, and some of the artists that I've always looked up to name my top is always, I gotta say, George Strait. And I always joke around that the day I can shake his hand is the day I can die a happy girl. But I loved Reba McEntire growing up, and Vince Gill, and Sheryl Crow, actually, to pull from a little bit of a different vein. She's a big influence of mine as well. When we first started on the record, Fit to Be Tied, it's called, we kind of initially thought we were in a bit more of a hurry than we ended up being in to finish the whole thing. And so I only got to co-write on 4 of the tracks, but I love writing, and it's definitely something I'm going to have an even bigger part in, a bigger role in any future records we do. But the process was even more incredible than I could have imagined. I love being in the studio, adored the songwriting process and the people I got to meet and collaborate with, and just, my manager always talks about writing up, which is essentially just writing with people more experienced than you, and you can't help but get better when you're writing with people that just have been doing this for so long. And so that was probably the biggest thing I took away from it is the songwriting, which I just loved doing. The excitement of being able to take this single out on the road now is like nothing else. It's just such a blast to get to meet the radio people, and I really finally feel like I'm out there making it happen instead of waiting for it to happen.
I take a long back, turn the radio on, sing really, really loud to all my favorite songs. Eat a whole box of Oreos in my bed. I might even dye my hair flaming red.
Jeff Sylvie co-wrote the track Bluer Than Bluegrass, and he's got a couple of George Strait cuts. And James Dean Hicks is on the record. Bill Champlin, formerly of Chicago, and then Bob Carlisle co-wrote the first single called Flaming Red with a guy named Dennis Patton. And it's kind of a cool story how we ended up with that song too. Bob Carlisle was hired to come sing Butterfly Kisses up at my manager's wedding, and he did the father-daughter dance song. Of course, you can imagine there's a room full of 200 people sobbing. And so next day at the airport, my manager was taking him back. They had lunch, and Bob just kind of said, I've got this song kicking around that your artist Jessica might be interested in. And the record was all finished. It was completely done, packaged and everything. And I heard this song, and I just thought, women are going to love this. And it's not just a message for women. It's really the gist of the song is to take a break and take some time for yourself, or you won't be able to be good to anybody else. Girls just go crazy over that song. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so relatable. It's exactly how I feel. It's like, those dudes have been married, you can tell.
But I think I'll be staying here tonight.
My next, probably the really biggest thing I got coming up is on August 17th in Berrien Springs, Michigan. I'm opening for Luke Bryan at the Berrien County Youth Fair. And then other than that, we are just plugging this song. So I'll be all over the place, just at different radio stations and getting that thing to chart. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Jessica co-wrote 4 of the 13 tracks on the new album, including the title track. We still have a couple of copies of that new album up for grabs. If you want to enter this week's drawing for a copy of Fit to Be Tied, you have to enter online at InsideMusicRow.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook too for all the latest news and events here in town. Don't miss us next week when we go inside the music business at a major talent agency. We're going to leave you today with that #1 hit from Keith Urban, Without You. Until next time, I'm Bailey for Inside Music Row, and I'll see you again real soon.